Hi Beastie Besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, hi, my name is Angelfish, pronouns they, them, and today I've brought back a familiar backdrop because it is time for my top 10 G3 dolls that I currently own. Now, if this was just the top 10 of every G3 doll ever, we would not have this background. I would be using Tier Maker because not all of the G3 dolls that I would put in my top 10 of all time are dolls that I currently have, because some of them are not out yet and I can't really speak for, like, if Skeleeta was here, she would significantly shake up the things in this video and who is what and where. I also had a few rules for myself. I had to make sure that one character did not absolutely dominate this top 10 list. You know which character I'm talking about. It's Laguna. I had to make sure that this was not just every Laguna in every placement ever. I had to be fair and include other characters and look objectively at my collection and be like, okay, which ones of these would I consider my top 10? So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off at number 10, we have Day Out Draculaura. She released in 2023 and is currently still available on the market. She has had quite a few batches. This one is a more recent one with a longer neck. I did do an unboxing and review of her on the channel quite recently because I got her and Claudine off of eBay finally. And I really have to say that out of every Draculaura doll in my collection, she is one of the few that I would say that I've truly, bonded with in terms of, this doll is one of my comfort objects, and I take her with me to, the couch to watch movies and stuff. If you pay attention to my Instagram, always including her in photo shoots whenever I need a Draculaura. She's, one of my go-to dolls. So I feel like because I am very connected to this doll and her appearance, she's a good jumping off point for this list. She was my baseline. She's really cute. I think she holds up very well as far as early G3 dolls go, and that is why she is number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Monster Fest Cleo Denial. Now, I absolutely love this Cleo, especially for her makeup. I do wish that this was kind of like the standard for what Cleo looked like facially, because she is just so pretty. That being said, there are other dolls that I like more than her, so she felt like a very appropriate number 9 spot. I did go back to displaying her with the belt on, even though I high-key don't like that accessory, but I haven't taken it off since I did the assortment overview, so it just sort of stayed. And yeah, that is why she is number 9. Coming in at number 8 is one of the, if not the only boy doll to make it in this list, and one of the few G3 boy characters to, get physical releases. We have Claude Wolf. I really do love this doll so much. I remember being so excited for him when he came out. I have a small handful of him in my collection that I've bought over the years. I do wish I have gotten more, but he is since clearanced out and disappeared off of store shelves, so womp womp. But I did get to make a Scary Sweet birthday custom of him before he completely disappeared off of store shelves. So, I am happy about that. I am so sad that, the boys haven't seemed to do well enough to warrant getting more releases. That, I know if Toys R Us was still in the picture, we'd got a Draculaura and Claude 2-pack by now, but, it is what it is. I think he is very sweet. I love his hair. I love his face sculpt. I do wish that they had figured out the hand solution for him earlier, because his hands are, really, really fragile. Basically, if you're going to change his clothes, you have to remove his arms at the elbow rather than remove his hands at the wrist. Otherwise, you risk breaking his wrist peg, because for some reason, his hands are just, really, really, they're not on the, like, hinge joint good enough or something. Like, I don't know. It's just that one, like, hard hand issue that a lot of early G3 dolls have that recent dolls have been fixing. He has it. He's prone to it. So, you know, for that reason, since this is the top 10 list and I have to be nitpicky, he's gonna stay at the number 8 spot, but I do love him 2 bits, and I have a small handful of Claudes in my collection, so. Number 7 feels like a good a spot as any to put Cupid Asteria, since I don't want to let the recency bias win, necessarily. It will in some places in this video, but I can't let recency bias fully take over this entire thing. And, you know, in good conscience, even though I love Cupid so much, do I really want her any higher than some of the other dolls that I've brought forward for this video? The answer is no. So, number 7. Like, she's cute. I've gone on about her. I unboxed her for the channel. If I remember to do iCards, I will put her video up there while I'm talking about her because, you know, cross-promoting videos is a thing that I need to do more often because my viewership is absolutely terrible right now. The algorithm does not like me. I don't upload consistently enough, even though I try and have been uploading for at least once a week since August. So, you know, oops. But I digress. Cupid is a little darling. I just don't see her being any higher in this list. Sorry, nothing personal. Alright, coming in at number 6. This feels like a good place to put my favorite Twyla that we have gotten so far. And this is Fearbook Twyla. She is absolutely adorable. I love the shade of blue that her hair is. It's so pretty. I love her little baby doll dress. I love her shoes. I know a lot of people hate these shoes. A lot of people hate Fearbook Wave 1's shoes just in general. And I'll admit their shoe game is not the best when it comes to Monster High Generation 3 and Monster High as a whole. But Twyla's, out of the 3 that released first in like 2024, she carried. Twyla is single-handedly the best Fearbook doll from Wave 1 of Fearbook. I also did not know that she was the only other G3 Twyla doll to have glow-in-the-dark eyes, because both of Twyla's Skulltimate dolls and her Buried Secrets doll do not have glow-in-the-dark eyes. So I did not know that. So that's fun. Twyla has currently clearanced off of Target shelves, so I do not believe she is available in person anymore. With this last reset, she went bye-bye, so she's gone. I do regret not picking up a second one while she was available because I kind of wanted to make a Scary Sweet Birthday Twyla, but now the ability to do that is significantly more difficult. I have to hunt on eBay now for a base doll. But hey, this one is great. I felt like there was going to be more that followed that statement, but nope. As in typical Angelfishism fashion, sometimes a sentence is just whatever. Moving on. Trying to pick a top 5 is very difficult, but I do think that it is honestly very, very cool for Day Out Claudine to actually make the cut into my top 5, considering that, you know, when she first was revealed, I did not like her at all. I hated her outfit so much. Did not vibe with her at all when she first released. And then I got a Saran version of her this year. And you know what? I realized I was being too harsh. And she has genuinely become one of my favorite Claudines that I own, just in general, G1 and G3 combined, because if y'all know me in person, you know that I do absolutely adore G1 Claudine. I don't have a whole lot of her, but the ones that I do have are ones that I would consider absolute highlights, at least for, like, my childhood nostalgia. Like, I have her Ghouls Rule doll. I have new in box her Skulltimate Roller Maze doll, because that is my Friday Night Frights is my favorite Monster High G1 movie, like, just objectively. Don't ask why. I can't begin to explain. I will go on a tangent for like 2 hours that nobody wants to hear. But bottom line, like, that doll is super special to me. And then more recent releases from Claudine that I have that are absolutely near and dear to my heart include Real Drama and Haunt Couture. And hopefully one day I will get House of Wolf. She's really expensive, but I really, really want her. So bottom line, I love Claudine. And I feel like looking at my collection, it was very difficult to pick out a favorite to put in this spot, because I know I wanted a Claudine in my top 5, and I had narrowed it down between her and Monster Fest. Now, Monster Fest, I discounted because, and she's not in this list, because I remember having such a hard time finding a face for her. And ultimately, that is why Day Out won over Monster Fest. And you know what? She's very deserving of this spot. Like, her hair is just so pretty alone. The Saran version of the champagne, like, ice cream pink. Like, come on. And as far as early G3 dolls go, this is a very fun color palette. I like the fuchsia. I like the, like, tattered, like, cut off shorts. And these shoes, this was the first time they were used, and this is the cutest version of them, in my opinion. Like, we've gotten them in other colors, but they'll never be topped. This specific colorway will never be topped. So, kicking off our number 5 is a much-deserved little Claudine. Look at her. She's beautiful. Now, coming in at number 4, and this is why I said I'm trying so hard, and it was really difficult to not let the recency bias win, Nephra Denial. Now, Nephra is my favorite signature doll of all time at the moment. She won that ranking video, which if you want to watch, I will link it up there if I can remind myself to do iCards at the end of this. But Nephra, where do I begin that I haven't already said in other videos? Full disclosure, I think her number 4 placement has a lot to do with just how special of a character Nephra is to me in general, because when I was reconnecting with G1 of Monster High during the pandemic, she was one of the first dolls that I found in good shape for, like, a decent price at the flea market. So, you know, for that reason, Nephra just kind of has always had a special place in my heart. And I also got her for my birthday this year, so there's a little bit of bias in that regard as well. And it is my top 10 list, so I can't, like, fully just be like, oh, well, let me rationalize every decision made. Sometimes it just is that I wanted Nephra in the top 5, but can't justify putting her any higher because there are other dolls that I still want to get through. Now, before we get into our top 3, it is time for a few honorable mentions. Starting with Monster Fest Laguna, she didn't quite make this top 3. She didn't even quite make this list, but, you know, had other dolls not been present, I feel like she would have placed. It's just, there are a couple other Laguna dolls that I brought out that when I was, you know, conceptualizing this video, I was like, oh god, this is going to be so tricky, because I don't want one character to dominate this list. So I've largely shown restraint here. If you've noticed, this is the first time Laguna has come up in this video, in terms of, like, being on screen. So in interest of fairness to the other dolls that I would consider in my top 10, she had to be just an honorable mention. Another honorable mention would be Scary Sweet Birthday Draculaura. She did win out my Draculaura tier list in the number 1 spot in that video. And I did say that Scary Sweet Birthday, much like Sweet 1600, is probably over time going to become one of my G3 favorite, like, top 10 lines of all time, just because I have such a special connection to Sweet 1600 as a theme from childhood. So, you know, in that regard, I had to put her in this video in some way, shape, or form, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out where to place her in this top 10. So for that reason, I have omitted placing her entirely and decided to include her in the honorable mentions. Next up, we have Core Refresh 2024 Cleo Denial. I really do love this signature Cleo doll. She is so fun. She is so pretty. I love her color scheme. But I didn't want to have a repeat of the core ranking video because she was in the top bracket of that video. And while I fully could have put her in the top 3 for this video, I decided, you know what, let's keep things interesting and not repeat dolls that have already been in the top placements before. Another honorable mention is Signature G3 Laguna from her first wave appearance. I love this doll to death. She is near and dear to my heart. Like I said, with Monster Fest Laguna, I had 4 Laguna dolls that I brought over when I was bringing over dolls to look at for, like, who's in my top 10. And them all battling it out, it's like, okay, while I have customized the ever-loving hell out of this doll before, and Monster Fest buying several duplicates of each, which means that I do genuinely love their base dolls a lot, I figured in the interest of fairness, I can't put her in the top 3. So, yeah. Ugh. It kind of hurts, but also at the same time, like, there's other Laguna dolls in this video that I feel are a little bit more deserving of a placement in the top 3 spot. Next up is Core 2026 Wave 3 Frankie, another contender for a top spot. It was actually really close between this Frankie and the other 2 that I brought over for this video, but ultimately only one of them could win, and only one of them has been in the collection long enough to warrant a placement in the top 3. So in the interest of not letting recency bias win, this Frankie had to be put in the honorable mentions category instead. But I do love them so, so much. So, you know, there's that. Next up in our honorable mentions category, we have Oasis, Ginnifier, and Draculaura. Yes, they are taking up the same spot in the honorable mentions, just because these 2, I would have actually put in the middle section of this list if it was longer, but in good conscience, couldn't. Not that there was anything wrong particularly with either of them, except their full ensemble didn't quite fit them. Both of them have issues with their plastic corsets, so it's like, okay, if I'm being nitpicky, then these 2, while I love them a lot and am really, really attached to both of them right now, they have to go in the honorable mentions category for that reason, but I can't put them any higher. And for our final 3 contenders in the honorable mentions category, we have Welcome Committee Frankie Stein, Fall 2024 Draculaura, and Fearbook Venus McFlytrap. These 3, I feel like, encompass my honorable mentions category, the highest honors for the 3 of them. They didn't quite make the placement of this video in terms of the top 3, but absolutely do I think that they are near and dear to my heart. I take them with me everywhere in my house, if that sounds like, you know, any justification for them being here. I am really attached to all 3 of these. Welcome Committee was a gift from a friend, and they are very special to me for that reason, especially with what they represent as an openly non-binary character, especially during this current day and age, and they are expressly a pride doll as well. So, you know, they're very special to me for that reason. So they had to be on the higher end of the honorable mentions list. They got beat out for, like, the actual top 3 by one other Frankie, who I feel absolutely deserves to be in my top 3 of all time. Draculaura, I have mentioned so many times before, despite how many people would agree with me on the fact that her outfit is maybe not the best, especially manufacturing quality. It's just, I am very attached to this Draculaura doll. She is like my tiny plastic best friend. I only recently fixed her bangs. They were like very all over the place for the longest time after I unboxed her, because I really do just like take her almost everywhere in my house with me. And I've even taken her out a couple times. So there's that. Venus. This is my favorite G3 Venus doll of all time, but I have two recency bias picks that made their way into the top 3 of all time list, and I didn't want a third one. So it was like, okay, this is really difficult. It was down to the last minute, like literally before I started filming this segment was when I decided, okay, Venus has to be in the top of the honorable mentions category, but I can't put her in my top 3 because there's 2 other dolls, and I don't want it to just be recency bias Electric Boogaloo, even though that is half of this video. It's like, I have to put her in the honorable mentions, though, because she is great. And I know some people are already going to be mad at me for having her this high in the first place, because a lot of people really hate this outfit for some reason. Even though I say it all the time, there is an elegance to simplicity, and her outfit is a very fun, simple concept, and I consider it elegant. Now, on to our top 3. Now, coming in at number 3, I know, recency bias. I know, it's like she is technically not even fully out yet. Same can be said for another doll that is in the top 3. But I just really, really love the new 2026 Laguna. She is so up my alley. She is so adorable. She is my favorite, or at least one of my favorite color palettes that a Laguna doll has had. There is just something so fun about like all of the turquoise and sparkles and teal and like these sheer sleeves and the platinum blonde and the mermaid scales, even this little like pearl scrunchy thing. I redid the twist at the center of her hair. It's no longer a twist. I actually braided the 2 sections and then pulled them back, so it actually looks a little nicer than it did before, and there's no scalp showing now because that was an issue with the factory hairstyle that I had. Some people had better factory done hair than mine did. I mean, she did just come out, so not a whole lot of people have been posting photos of her yet, but from what I've seen, other people had better luck with her hairstyle from right out of the box than I did. So I had to redo it, but I love her so much, and I was looking at her, and I was like, oh, I have to put you in this video. And then I was looking at her next to the other, like, 3 Laguna dolls that I brought over, and I was like, oh god, am I really about to put her in the top 3? And the answer is yes, but only at the number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2 is Oasis Laguna, also technically a 2026 release that is at least more available than the core refresh version 3, wave 3, whatever you want to call them, dolls, because she is fully out at Target and Amazon, so she is at least a little easier to come across and will be available for the holiday season a little bit more regularly, from what it sounds like. But, I mean, her being the number 2, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, in the Laguna ranking video, she was number 1, and recency bias won out there. So I'm not shocked that she is this high up. I explained in that video, and I can justify my recency bias towards her just because tropical and like mermaidy is kind of my whole aesthetic as a person, like outside of this channel, outside of this video, outside of collecting, as a human being. Me, myself, deeply enjoy all of the design aesthetics that influence this doll. The ocean, beachy whole thing, like that's my cup of tea. Right next to Halloween and Christmas, that is my cup of tea as a person. So it makes sense that she would be this high. And if it's any consolation, you know, it wasn't that difficult of a choice. I always knew she was going to be in the top 2, and if Scalita was here, she'd be battling it out for the number 1 spot with her. But since Scalita's not here, my number 1 spot goes to an old friend, a very familiar favorite on the channel. Say hello to Day Out Frankie Stein. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, really? This is your number 1 G3 doll in your entire collection? Yeah. Yeah, they are. Just full stop. There's no beating around it. I have always had a soft spot for this Frankie in particular, just because of how much their outfit reminds me of their G1 signature outfit. I know I try not to let G1 have a bearing on a lot of my G3 opinions, but sometimes it comes in there, and when it does, it's usually a positive, association that I have with them. Very rarely is it, something that I use to cross-compare and be like, this one's better. I'm not that kind of girl. I don't do that. So, this just makes so much sense to me in my head. When I was looking at all of the dolls that I had brought over, I was thinking to myself, wow, the number 1 spot is such an easy pick. No hesitation. I look at them, and yeah, that's my doll. That's my Frankie. I love them to bits so much. This doll has been just about everywhere with me. Even if I've not brought them out of my purse, they have traveled with me all sorts of places. Libraries, study sessions, exams. I am deeply emotionally attached to this Frankie, and I've only had this specific Day Out Frankie since November of last year, but they got me through the spring semester, and you know what? What more could I ask for? Anyway, that is all the time I have for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Let me know down in the comments below what your top 10 G3 dolls that you personally have or would like to have is. And until then, see you later!